you had superstar DJs like Norman Cook, Fatboy Slim, and the superstar DJ really was someone that became more popular than the music. He's a DJ, he DJs at the local pub. Because the DJ word has become so vague, it's very difficult for people to understand what it is that you do. Just by the mere fact that you're calling yourself a DJ, the public now cannot make a difference between you and the hotel bar DJ or the pub DJ.
Welcome to the channel. My name is Vaughn. I'm an artist development coach, and a keyboardist for the UK band Mesh. If it's your first time here, welcome. On this channel, we talk about keyboards, synthesizers, we analyze music, and fundamentally focus on music which is related to pianos, keyboards, and synthesizers. But today we're going to do a very different type of video, and that is we're going to talk a little bit about DJing. Now, for those of you who've been following me for a few years, you may not know this, but before I got into music and the way you know me now, I started off being a DJ. I think a lot of musicians and artists start off like that. Our love for music will see us DJing at parties and stuff, and then that interest will then make us go on to producing our own music and everything. So I've been around the block, and many years ago, before I joined Mesh and before I was known as Vorty, I was known as DJ Vaughn Mixer. Yeah, I know, it seemed like a good idea at the time, but we learn and we move on. Now, I got to a point in my life and in my career where I became a little bit snobbish towards the idea of DJing, and I'm not going to talk about that in this video, but just know that I did sort of become a little bit arsey and think, oh, DJs weren't real musicians and stuff. And then, of course, I learned the hard way that I was wrong. I'll talk about that in another video. But fast forward to where we are now, as a person who's done lots of clubbing, loves nightlife, and is, ultimately a lover of music, I have such respect for, dance music and DJ culture. And that really is the reason for this video, is that the term DJ has become such a vague term when you talk about yourself as a DJ, whereas several years ago, that used to mean something. Well, it's become such a diluted word. So I guess I'm quite biased and quite protective over the whole sort of term of being a DJ and what it is to be, let's say, a proper DJ. And I do respect DJ culture, proper DJ culture. Now, in order to make my point, let's go over to the whiteboard.
Right, class in session. Everybody sit down, shut up and pay attention. Well, that's what school was like when I was a kid. I'm quite an old git. Now, before I get into my explanation regarding what a DJ is and what it's not, let's look at a typical music setup so far as a band is concerned. Now, let's take a typical band, like keyboards, guitar, singer, real musicians that play real instruments, I guess what I'm saying is. Now, let's take this band. They're a 5-piece band, and let's call them something mean, like, I don't know, the Bad Asses. Okay, this is our band. The Bad Asses. What's it? What? Yeah, like that. So the Bad Asses are a typical band lineup, and they have a drummer. Excuse my art. They have a lead vocalist. They have a bass guitar. They also have a lead guitarist and a keyboard player. There we go, the badasses. Now over here, you have the audience. Okay, so where am I going with this? Now, if we take the sort of traditional lineup of a band, rock band, pop band, whatever you want to call it, to the audience, it's usually obvious what's going on here. We look at him and we know he's the drummer, we know he's singing, we can see this one's playing the bass, we can see this one's playing the guitar, and we can see this one's playing keys. So it's pretty straightforward, even for the general public, to kind of get their head around what's going on stage. Now, let's go on to DJs. This is where it becomes very sort of unclear. So DJs or disc jockey. Now what's interesting is if you actually go up to 10 people and you ask them what does the word DJ stand for, I bet you about 5 out of 10 will not know that it stands for disc jockey. Just a bit of useless information for you there. So this is where it becomes quite confusing for audience really, is, you know, what is a DJ? What is a DJ? Because it's become such a vague term. I mean, within the DJ category, you now get hotel bar DJs. You get a hotel bar DJ, you get a wedding DJ. You also get, I guess you could say, pub DJ. You also get club DJs. You also get radio DJs. And then you also get superstar DJs. Okay, and I guess there are sort of subcategories. I guess you could say that, you know, the hotel bar DJ, the wedding DJ, and let's say the, well, let's do another one, a party DJ. You know, parties and stuff, home parties and stuff. I guess that could be in a subsection of its own, which you could call mobile DJs, and that's someone who shows up, he brings his decks and his lights and his sound equipment, and he's a mobile DJ. My point being really that the whole concept of the word DJ has been completely, some might say, bastardized, or I would like to say watered down, just to be polite. Because unlike the traditional band lineup where, you know, the audience kind of look at that and they kind of get it, even though they're not musicians. The moment that sort of general public are watching a DJ, or, you know, get into the realm of DJ, this is where the confusion gets in. And this video is not long enough to describe all the different types of DJs. Of course, I'm no expert on the subject. I'm merely making this video because I know so many people I sort of talk to, you know, regarding this, just don't really understand the difference between the different types of DJs. Now, this is where the problem lies, if you want to call it. It's not really a problem, but the issue, or whatever you want to call it, is if you are a superstar DJ, what does that mean? Well, superstar DJs, this really sort of started in the sort of like the 90s, you know, when the rave culture became really huge, you know, towards the back end of the 90s. And then in the early noughties, 2000s, you had superstar DJs like Norman Cook, Fatboy Slim. And the superstar DJ really was someone that became more popular than the music. Because if we go back to the early origins of the DJs, a DJ would be someone who was, you know, either presenting music on a radio or, you know, playing at a club or something. But they were never the stars. They were just the DJs. Now, obviously, like with many crafts, you become very well known or very good at what you do. You could become a very well-known DJ for being, you know, either good on radio, good at clubs and things like that. But this all really changed in the sort of like late, especially in the late 90s, early 2000s, where these DJs became almost more popular than the music they were DJing. So you would actually go out especially to see this DJ because they were a big name. Now, also within the superstar DJ, you had, well, typically superstar DJs would be people like, let's say, Tiesto. There's David Guetta. You could say Carl Cox. I mean, I know you're probably going to go, what about this one? What about this one? I'm just going to use a few examples here. And let's use Fatboy Slim. So if you're looking at the likes of Armand van Buuren, David Guetta, Tiesto, these guys can fill arenas, stadiums, huge, huge venues. Now, here's where the dilemma comes really is, I personally make the differentiation between DJs who are disc jockeys, you know, playing music, other people's music. And then I also make the differentiation between what I call a producer DJ. Now, this is a completely different, oh, we're running out of space here, but let's move it over here. So let's have a producer. Now, the problem with being a producer, if you're producing your own music and you're going out as a DJ, because the DJ word has become so vague, it's very difficult for people to understand what it is that you do. So You may well be a producer who's producing very, very good dance music, and you've got a following and everything. But just by the mere fact that you're calling yourself a DJ, the public now cannot make a difference between you and the hotel bar DJ and the wedding DJ and the party DJ, or the pub DJ. So this might sound a bit snobbish and elitist. Once again, I'm not a DJ, but I do have friends who are DJs, and this is a huge problem for them. Now, I personally know some great music producers who've produced great dance music and gone out, to play the music in clubs and called themselves DJ whatever. So imagine your name's Jack and you go out and you call yourself DJ Jack. Problem with that is the general public will not know. They'll just go, oh, you're a DJ. But then let's take this girl here. Let's say her name's Mary. Mary's a mum, 35, 2 kids, and she likes a bit of dance music, but she's a mum, so she doesn't go out clubbing and stuff. But so if you're speaking to Mary and you're speaking to Mary about my friend Jack, who's a producer. So I tell Mary, I've got this friend called Jack, and he's a producer. And she goes, oh, what's a producer? Oh, well, he's a DJ. He goes out, and she goes, oh yeah, I know, yeah. My mate Zachary, he's a DJ. He DJs at the local pub. So the point I'm trying to make is that Zachary who DJs at the pub, and Jack, who's now an established producer DJ, they're not on the same level. Now, I'm not trying to be snobbish here. I'm just trying to say that this whole DJ thing is just so confusing for most people. So when you get out there and you say, I'm a DJ, be careful, because what does that exactly mean? People in the industry or producers and musicians, some of them may even find it quite hard. But the whole term DJ is just so incredibly vague. Once again, so different to the conventional band lineup, where if you tell someone, my mate is in a band and he plays the bass guitar, even if they're not a musician, they will kind of get that. The moment you tell them you're a DJ, doesn't matter what you're doing as a DJ, whether you're a club DJ or a party DJ or a whatever kind of DJ or a superstar DJ, you just get lumped in the same category. So is it a problem? Well, it's probably a first world problem. In the grand scheme of things, it's probably not a problem. But I think as an artist, I think it is something you should think of when you're naming yourself as if you're a producer going out and doing dance music. It's something you've got to be very careful of, because I'll be honest with you, in my many years in the industry, sometimes if people reach out to me to work with them, and this sounds very, very snobbish, but it's not meant to be. But if anyone reaches out to me and they've got a DJ in their email, like they're called like DJ something, it's a little bit of I won't say a red flag, but it's almost like a cautionary thing. And the reason being, if someone wants to work with you and they say, I'm a DJ, then I come back to this chart and I go, well, what exactly are you? Are you a producer DJ, or do you DJ for school parties? What exactly are you? Now, I hope you found this useful. Excuse my art, but merely just trying to illustrate to you what's in my head regarding the concept of DJ, and just how vague and how watered down the term DJ, and almost how misleading the word DJ or the term DJ has become.
Hope you enjoyed that. Now, if this is your first time, hopefully I've earned your subscription. And to those of you who've been following me from the beginning, you'll know that this is a very different type of video. Please leave your comments below. Let me know what you thought of this video. Do you like the format? Would you like to see more videos like this? Now, if you're a DJ, I would be particularly interested to hear from you. Regardless of what type of DJ you are, let me know in the comments what type of DJ you are. And if you're a producer that produces your own music and then goes out as a DJ. I want to hear from you too. So anything that you want to say regarding what was said in this video, let's get the conversation going. Thank you for your time. Lots of love, and I'll see you on the next video. Adios.